We are going to move on to talk about recycling. And I welcome here Stina Billinger, Sustainability in Public Affairs for Syre. Round of applause. Was it there? Yeah. When we started Transformation Conference 2 years ago, the focus was very much around new material technologies, new ways of recycling textiles and so forth. And I think that track has kind of continued on. Hasn't been a completely unrocky road for some of the players in the field, but there are many innovators in Finland and Sweden, and the latest one, which has been on kind of everyone's lips the last year, is of course Syre. So
Fun to hear.
that's kind of I wanted to have Stina on to talk and not have you in a panel because I'm so curious about what you guys are doing. But maybe you can just set this up to describe what is Syre and what do you aim to do?
Yeah, thank you for having us and inviting us. Syre is a textile impact company. We are aiming to solve at least two of the major problems, sustainability problems of the sector, which is decarbonization and de-wasting. We are a textile to textile recycling company, is another way to put it, founded by H&M and the Vargas Group. So basically our story started a few years ago when H&M knocked on Vargas Holdings' door, and I mean everybody knows H&M, but Vargas might not be that known in this room. So Vargas Holding is a holding company that has put a goal on decarbonizing 1% of the world's emission. And with this, they have built an industrial playbook on how to scale companies fast. So industrial scale is sort of the Vargas Group. So what H&M said was that, okay, so there are a lot of technologies for circularity in the textile industry, but we haven't found anyone on scale. So maybe we could do this together. So what they did by then was to scan the world to find the best technology for textile to textile recycling for polyester. They found the tech in North Carolina with Matthew Parrott and Chris Luft in Raleigh in North Carolina. They decided to go. So we worked in stealth mode. I joined in September together with a lot of colleagues then. And we worked in stealth mode until March. And in March, we launched.
So you launched in March. I had an opportunity to speak to your CEO by the time of launch, and I think what drew me to this and what I thought was fascinating. First of all, that you focus on polyester, while many of the other textile recyclers focus on cotton and some of these kind of pulp-based solutions. But the other one is the scale factor, and as I mentioned at the beginning of this session this morning, we have a massive scale problem in the fashion industry as well. So can you talk a little bit about that scale? It seemed very crucial for the start of Syre.
Yeah. And I mean, the scale is sort of in the core of what we do. What we say is that we're going to hyperscale. And we've also set up a team for hyperscaling. So the leadership team comes from large companies. And we are setting up the blueprint plant in North Carolina this year, and in 27, hopefully, or in 27 we will have 3 gigafactories, and we've shortlisted the Iberia Peninsula, so Spain or Portugal, and also Vietnam, and then we will add a third country to that list.
What defines a giga? What's a gigafactory? It's like a huge factory.
That's a huge factory, exactly. No, but we really want to do this in scale because what we see that it's a lot of fantastic innovation, and I've been so inspired to listen to a lot of the innovators here. But since the problem of this industry is so massive, we really need to solve it on scale. And that's why we're starting with polyester, because polyester is the fastest growing fiber. It's a fiber that we have to remember that we cannot live without polyester. It's everywhere. It's in these chairs. It's in these safety belts. It's in the airbags. So we need it, even though we stop consuming clothes tomorrow. We need polyester. So therefore we really need to solve that problem. And polyester is a fossil-based material. And we just have to open the news or listen to the scientists, and we know that we cannot take up any more oil. So therefore we need to find solutions to use it over and over again. So we want to do our part. We need to be brave, but we're also humble. We want to change an industry from linear to circular. But we see that we need to do it fast. Because we don't have time. And that's basically, the analysis behind the scale is that we need to do it in scale, and we need to do it fast because the climate change is escalating.
Right, right.
So it's not because we think it's fun to run fast. The world needs the sustainable solutions and the circular solutions fast. And we also see that we get some help from Brussels. So it was fun to listen to the regulatory session earlier on.
Well, let's maybe go in that direction, and because you don't come from the fashion industry, you have a different type of background. Maybe you should talk a little bit what you've done before, but also, given that, what drew you to this project and this industry?
I've never worked in textiles before, so I'm new to the sector. I have a dual background with and also a dual role in Syre, responsible for sustainability and public affairs. I've spent the last decade in politics, so I've been working as a state secretary for the Swedish government, responsible for innovation policy and also the state-owned portfolio. But also policy for circularity and trying to develop policy instruments on how to stimulate circularity. And before that, I spent some time in the finance industry as leading for ESG and sustainability for Storebrand. So what I wanted when I left politics, I felt that I wanted to work in a hyper-scaling environment, or in a fast-scaling environment, in a risk environment. Spending time in politics, you're spending your days with avoiding taking risks. So therefore, it's super fun to be in an environment where risk is welcome. And I wanted to try to do circularity for real. Since it's been so challenging to understand where would the policy instruments be to really push for circularity. And I wanted to be in a sector where the giant leap, the giant transformation is still ahead of the industry. From the policy perspective, I saw it from the government side when electric cars boomed, and when the steel industry of Sweden started to transform. But I believe that the textile sector still has the leap ahead. So when I heard the rumors about Syre, which was really just rumors, I just threw myself on the phone and said that I can do anything. I'll be responsible for the coffee. I just want to be a part of this journey.
Seems like you got more responsibilities than that. We've talked a lot about. We started this session talking about the kind of legislation in the textile industry, and how much of your day-to-day life is about focusing on that, and how much do you need to navigate that when you're rolling out?
A lot. It's a lot of people saying that it's a tsunami from Brussels, and I would agree on that. It's massive, the regulatory changes that is facing this industry. I think it's important to frame it as an opportunity. This is really a moment of change for the industry, and it's also an opportunity because suddenly this sector has, the eyes of the politicians and the eyes of Brussels is on this sector. So therefore, I think it's important that the industry also raises the voices and saying, what do we need from Brussels then to be able to do this? But it's a massive opportunity because there's so much. the Green Deal was a big shift, but the regulatory package towards circularity for the textile industry is really covering like all parts from design to recycling, and everything in between. So therefore, I think it's the devil is always in the details when it comes to politics and policy. So there's still a lot of job to be done. I think probably the hardest parts right now for a company like us would be on the table for JRC, the Joint Research Center. For example, the end of waste criteria is super important. So I mean, the regulation is there. It's already adopted. It's going to be super interesting to see. The implementation phase and what countries is going to take the lead and how can we harmonize it, because I mean the nightmare would be that we end up with 28 solutions in different EU countries. So it's super important here that we are able to harmonize. And what I can see, I mean, since we are already kind of a global company with presence in the US, for example, there is so much interest and fascination in what actually is going on right now in this industry. So I think we should also be, as a European, and Nordic sector, we should be proud over what is now put on the table, and we should use it as an opportunity to do the changes that the industry really needs.
You mentioned you want to be a textile-to-textile recycler. There is, starting 2025, the mandate of collecting textiles throughout Europe. I think Finland has already started. I think Denmark is pretty on the forefront. Am I right? Nodding here. Can you say anything to that end? Are you operating that at all, or looking into that? The actual collecting of textiles.
We will not collect clothes, and we will not sort clothes. We will partner up with the collectors and sorters. I believe that it's also a tech opportunity here to be able to collect and sort clothes on scale to meet the market demand, like from companies like us. We need tech solutions. So we need a lot of smart AI brains looking into how to make the collecting and sorting part digital. We cannot have manual sorting. That would not be efficient enough. So I mean that's a super important part of this infrastructure. It's important that it's harmonized, and it's also important that this part of the infrastructure or the ecosystem gets clarity on what is actually waste and what is not waste. Because right now from Brussels they are pushing a lot for repair and reuse, which is of course good. But if you push it too hard, then we might ending up sending a lot of clothes that we don't want to wear, and we send it to the global south. And if we send polyester to the global south, then we have the other parts of this, the problems of the sector, which would be landfill and ecosystem stress and biodiversity collapse in the water system in those countries that are receiving a lot of waste from us. So therefore, it's super fascinating to see sort of the pattern of the legislation from Brussels, that they're also targeting export.
Finally, you mentioned gigafactories 2027. Bunch of brands exhibiting here at SIF. When can they start sourcing recycled polyester from Syre?
They can call us tomorrow.
Okay.
We are so ready for these conversations. So we will be able to produce also from our blueprint plant. But we are ready for the conversations with both the bigger brands that we've already are talking to, but also the smaller brands. And I just want to say also that the small and medium-sized part of the ecosystem is super important to push the consumer, the consumer's picture of what this industry can actually do. So I think it's important to see that the small and medium-sized companies can probably be the ones that are really driving the change of the industry, and maybe the large ones can follow. So it's a huge opportunity for us.
Stina Billinger, Sustainability and Public Affairs of Syre. Thank you so much.
Thank you.